everyone. I'm just going to continue on from part 1. So if you've missed that, you might want to go check it out. I'm just talking about the different things that I've tried. So, okay, so the lemon water is really important because it helps to cleanse the kidneys during that process. So it aids in the digestive process of just helping the body eliminate any toxins. Um, So another thing I want to address that I have been using that I don't think I've really put it on the blog is chlorophyll. Now it sounds really weird because in the last segment I talked about how I really no longer eat a lot of plants, and I don't. I usually use the juice of the plants, or if I'm making an herbal tea, then I will use the herb like it's just a tea. It's like the liquid, so it's easier to digest in the body when it's in liquid form. So the chlorophyll actually absorbs the sunlight, right? And then it transmutes it into its own cellular structure in the plant. And so when you're drinking the chlorophyll, it actually does help with anemia. Chlorophyll naturally has colloidal silver in it. And I also add a dropper full of colloidal silver to that. I am doing that and have done that to cleanse my liver. And if you heard the part 1, then you already know that my non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is gone because I healed it. And this is one of the ways that I did use to heal it. I want to go back to cannabis oil too, briefly. At the time, I have to say, I was on cannabis oil for 3 years. And during that 3 years, it really did help me phenomenally with my pain control. But it didn't stop my movements as much as I would like. It would calm them, yes, and make me feel better in the moment, absolutely. But overall, like the next day, or, now I haven't taken any cannabis oil since January 2020, and I'm still having movements, right? But when I vape, then the movements go away. And I do want to talk about the vape again. Very importantly, I have a vape. I'm going to get up and get it because I really think you should see it. So I have this vape right here. You can find a vape like this in a lot of different stores, but my vape is battery operated. I have one that's a battery operated vape, and then I have one that's a desktop vape that I use through my bong sometimes, which helps with water filtration. This doesn't have any water filtration, but I find it works just fine. You open it up and you put there's a well in there, and that's where you put your flour, and that's also where you take out your flour. And when it comes out, it's like a dark brown color, and I put those in capsules and consume those for pain relief or to help at night. I like to take them at night, at least one capsule at night, so that it helps me sleep a little bit better and I wake up with less pain. So it absolutely does help with that. And this is the way I've been consuming my cannabis oil. So this is really great for someone who might be in an illegal state, but still needs more relief and doesn't want to worry about, going to a bad place because you've chosen this as your medicine. So anyone who's followed me for a long time knows that I came from an illegal state, so I totally understand. All right, in this blog post, I noticed that I'm drinking ACV. I no longer drink ACV, even though it is a liquid form. I feel like apple is akin to really to drinking a sugary drink, and so I just don't do that anymore. I don't need to have that for indigestion, but if I do have indigestion, I drink a Topo Chico now, and that's something that I've been doing for a little while. Dr. Canberry also drinks Topo Chicos, so I feel a little bit better about it. I do try not to drink too many of those because I am trying to heal my kidneys. I feel like my kidneys are intricately tied to the nervous system and to the spleen, so that's and to the lungs. So it's all intricately tied, you know, in that great big thing called the body, connected by the vagus nerve. So yeah, it just it needs to operate as efficiently as possible, and so that's why I do some of the things that I do, and that's why I no longer juice as well. um I do get a lot of sun, and that's something I do want to address. Getting sun is really vital because the vitamin D supplementation can cause some alternate problems. Vitamin D supplementation can increase the heavy metal output in your body, which disrupts the gut biome first and foremost, which is really hard on the Huntington's disease system. So rather than taking supplementation, which can also increase vitamin A toxicity, because you can get too much vitamin A from, let's say, from some people's skincare regimes have a lot of vitamin A in it, etc. It can just be, or some people eat too much liver. I personally do not eat liver on the carnivore diet. I know that some like a lot of carnivores just swear by it, but I have never liked the taste of it. And if I have never liked the taste of it, could it be that my body has way too many heavy metals and has since I was a baby? I mean, that is when my restless leg syndrome started, right? And that is when scientists say that Huntington starts in the womb. So if it starts in the womb, then it makes sense that we would have toxicity right away from the womb and not be able to have certain things like that. So that's a reason why I stay away from vitamin D supplementation. I also have noticed that seeing the sun rise does a lot more for my melatonin levels than vitamin D supplementation ever did. And I tried vitamin D supplementation for years, 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 and it did not do the trick. It did not raise up my vitamin D levels. What raised up my vitamin D levels was constant sun exposure every single day, going outside, touching the earth with my bare feet and soaking in that sun for like, 20 minutes is all you need every day. And if you're watching the sunrise and watching the sunset, well, then your circadian rhythm starts to become more balanced and you have less insomnia. I no longer have insomnia either, which is really phenomenal because I had insomnia for like 3 decades. So, and I thought that this vitamin D supplementation was the key, but it didn't do anything until I started making sure I get out every day and I get some sun at least I look at the sunrise every day. So, and vitamin D is so important to be able to detoxify your body and to be able to heal your liver. And that's something that really needs to, that needs addressing in Huntington's disease. Okay, so I'm just looking through. The last time I ever took a pharmaceutical was in 2014. I was convinced at the time by a tardive dyskinesia doctor. She thought I had tardive dyskinesia before finding out about my estranged sister having similar problems and then us getting the testing for Huntington's. So, at that time, the lady decided I needed to be on Klonopin, which is another form of benzos, and it just made me so suicidal. So I really don't recommend that for anyone, and that was the last medication I ever took, and it took me a really long time to release the suicidal ideation, but I no longer have that, thankfully. Thankfully, yay! Okay. I no longer do, okay. I absolutely did detox my entire kitchen of anything harmful. So I detoxed my kitchen of all plastics. I haven't drank soda in years. I stopped drinking soda before 2013. But if you're still drinking soda, definitely don't drink soda in plastic bottles if you're going to start somewhere, right? Eventually, don't drink soda, but Glass is much better. I don't put any of my food in plastic, not even in the refrigerator where it's supposedly cold and safe. I don't do that. If I put my stuff in any sort of plastic bag, it's a silicone bag, which is actually made more out of silica. It has a little plastic in it, but not the same. So, I also made sure that I didn't have any non-stick cookware anymore, so I had to change all my pots and pans. Bought a ton of Pyrex dishes because glass is okay. Stainless steel is okay and glass is okay, but everything else can be a little questionable, even ceramic. And so for that reason, I actually have a stainless steel coffee mug now instead of a ceramic mug, which personally I feel a lot better about. What else? Oh, like I said, I may have said, I don't know, I had one video that messed up. I no longer do a crock pot because oh yes, I did. I no longer do the crock pot because crock pots can contain lead, and that's something that I found out about. So any sort of ceramic can contain lead, and that's why I no longer do ceramics. I definitely still believe in medical marijuana. I believe that for HD and other diseases like it, you really need the highest level of THC you can get. Honestly, I recently tried a 30% THC and I was just so happy. It was like over 30% and wow. I barely had to smoke it, which is wonderful to me, instead of smoking it a lot with 20% THC. And I know 20% sounds like a lot to some people who don't even have 20% in their states, but Huntington's disease patients need a lot because we have so much pain. Okay. Let's see here. What else? What else have I tried? Oh, let's talk about my diet. Yes, at one time I was eating vegetarian. Then I went to pescatarian. And then I went to vegan. None of those diets worked because I ate too many plant foods in all of those diets. And I've come to find out I'm allergic to eggs. So I can't even do eggs anymore. That's part of the dairy that I recently gave up. I gave up eggs. Like, I've been eating eggs probably off and on for a couple of years because I've just kind of slowly been backing away from them because they would make my stomach hurt immediately after eating. And then I heard someone talk about how you can tell if you have food allergies because your nose starts filling up and you feel like you can't breathe right after you eat. And so then you have to think about what it is you ate. And if you've done an elimination diet, then you can kind of figure it out. And for me, that was eggs. Eggs and cheese. They both did the same thing. Crazy. So I was eating a lot of eggs on the vegetarian diet. That's why that didn't work, as well as all of the vegetables and all of the cheese. And I was still drinking coffee then, and lots of plant foods and all kinds of things. And I've gone on and off of coffee throughout my entire journey. And I can say when I'm off coffee, I feel so much better than when I do when I'm drinking coffee. So those are all things to really consider as well. It really has increased and benefited my mood to go carnivore. I really don't have a lot of mood problems anymore. I don't have any breakdowns like I used to have. It's just, I feel like I'm really beating Huntington's disease absolutely naturally. I no longer have, like I did a post on here. I see my last post was beating Huntington's disease, also known as pancreatitis. I know that the pancreas and all of the organs really are so affected in Huntington's disease. And in that issue, my stomach will get really, really large when I would eat something that was wrong for me. So it's hard to know, was it the pancreas exactly, or was it the spleen, or was it a combination of all of those plus the liver? You know, at that time I was really having a hard time. I lacked potassium really hardcore when that post came out. That post was actually, I started writing that post early on, or no, this is the cirrhosis Rick Simpson oil and the Gerson therapy post. That post I talk about my seizures and about how I needed to increase the potassium levels. And then the next one, I feel like I'm beating it because I'm feeling like I'm having less pain every single day. And since that post in 2018, I have had less and less and less and less and less pain over the years. So now here it is, 2022, and we're in March, and it's March 8th, and I am feeling pretty good today. I woke up. This is generally how it works for me. I wake up, and if I'm having any sort of neuropathy in my arms, because a lot of times I have some in my left arm, and I stick a hot water bottle underneath my armpit and I put it down, because for me, that's where the ulnar nerve comes from. And I'm having ulnar nerve, carpal tunnel, and radial nerve problems in this hand. And so whatever I can do to help that is what I do. Now this morning I forgot to do a hot water bottle, so I believe that's why I'm having so many problems. But I'm going to go do that in just a few minutes, and it's going to help relax it. I also have been implementing a Taurus. I wish I had it out here so I could show it to you, but I don't. But I will do another video on the Taurus. But the Taurus basically is a device that's made out of resin, and then it's got crystals inside of it, including shungite. And the shungite helps to block EMF from the device. This is a PEMF device. This device is phenomenal for sound healing. And I have talked a little bit about sound healing on my channel, but not enough, because sound healing has been instrumental for me since the very beginning. Since I started having seizures and migraines, I have been using sound healing. And so I go and I look for solfeggio tones that really help my body feel better, and I utilize those tones. One tone that actually is really, really good is the 153 hertz, which if you follow the Star Child 2009 on YouTube, her name is Roberta Hill. She has so much information about the solfeggio tones and connects it back to the Bible. I'm not a Christian, but I am very spiritual, and I believe in incorporating Christian teachings into my spirituality. And so I really believe that the things that she's teaching about are fundamental and so important, and they have helped me heal my body. For example, I never would have known 153 hertz is the letter Q in the Hebrew alphabet. The letter is called Quaff. Well, because I'm also a psychic and I do tarot readings, I know that that is associated with the Sun card, which is associated with reintegration, promise, and hope. So I decided to try the hertz. I went to go try it, 153 hertz. In the morning when I woke up, I didn't do any other thing, okay? I didn't even take a cannabis oil capsule that night. I woke up the next day and my hand was out of its fist. This is how it is generally when it's not happy, you know, it's in this fist kind of motion. I can make it open, but it's very painful to do so. So, I, for that to have happened for me was just like, wow. It was a total wow moment, you know? And this is not the first time I've had relief using the Taurus. It's just the first time I had relief with that particular hertz. I have also used Roberta Hill's torqued method of kind of adding different hertzes together and then torquing them, which kind of twists them in a triangular fashion because there's like 2 or 3 tones going on at one time. And that works really phenomenal for me as well. If anyone is interested in seeing that, I will happily put it on my channel. I have it on my channel. I've just been using it myself. But if anybody else wants to see that, you let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to do that for you. As I've said before, I don't share this information for money. My channel is not monetized. I haven't reached 1,000 subscribers because I haven't really put a lot of effort into my channel. I've just been sharing what has been working for me here and there. But I have been getting more and more response from people who are turning more toward the natural way and want to know a different way to live. So that's why I really wanted to do these 2 videos for you, part 1 and part 2, about what I have tried and what has worked and what hasn't worked for me. You know, pharmaceuticals, I didn't really talk about that a bunch, but pharmaceuticals did not work for me. I could not get them to work the way they were supposed to work. Not even before my Huntington's disease diagnosis, when I was just diagnosed with bipolar. My doctor was constantly changing my medications because they never worked right. They never worked like they said that they were going to work. And so that is one thing that I have really stayed away from. No more pharmaceuticals. I really fully believe that they just toxify the body instead of detoxing the body. And that's not what I felt I needed. And that is why my body has had so many different changes. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you missed hearing all the different things that I have eliminated or self-cured, including non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, diabetes, hypothyroidism, parathyroidism, high calcium levels, restless leg syndrome, bipolar, check out my last video. All right, so I hope everyone has a really phenomenal day, and I hope you take care. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Thanks. Have a wonderful day.